And so if you're an agent listening to this and you're saying, I want to work with a buyer, well, good. I want to work with a unicorn too, but I've never seen one. I mean, where do they exist? Where do I go to get the buyer? I'm going to do internet marketing and I get 100 leads. How many are buyers? But your approach is, hey, I'm calling my buyer lead. That's not a buyer lead. That's a consumer. That's a prospect. They're a buyer, and it's your job to turn them into a buyer, not your job to not work with them because I'm not a buyer. Like, why would you Nordstrom's would never turn somebody walking in going, I don't want to buy something today. I just want to browse. You wouldn't go, hey, you can't come in. You can't hang out. You can't look. My job is to actually want them to come in and enjoy their experience.
Hey, Jack Lehr here, down Lehr's Lehr Podcast. And today I have this incredible guest with me. He's been in the real estate industry for a little bit over 17 years. And we just actually recently met, but we've known of each other because of a previous world that we were involved with. But I'll let him talk about that. His name is Brian Hoialmen. Brian, welcome to the show, brother.
Great to be here, Jack. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So it's interesting. So Brian, he's a consultant. He's been in the sales world for all this time and in the real estate field. And he's been helping folks with, building revenue, building wealth, building teams, and helping to build businesses. Like, you've been involved with some big businesses in the real estate world, right?
Yeah. Z57 back in the day, 17 years ago, was like the template website. That's what brought me into the space. And then after that, I went to Zerpel, and we started that from the ground up.
Yep.
And I built that up and that's a name brand that, still exists out there in the world.
Yep. Lead generation, correct?
Lead gen, but really interesting that it's where we hit on behavioral marketing. So attacking value through email and texting and different ways to engage consumers without the agent being involved in the process. Not CRM management,
right,
but just creating relationship opportunities through scripting. That's what we call obligation scripting. So we could talk more about that on this thing, but it's very interesting the way that works that a lot of people don't kind of grasp. And then after that, went to conversion. With Justin Tracy and their team,
yep,
and helped build that organization up, and then left them and went to IRE, which is Inside Real Estate, and we acquired Conversion and helped develop KV Core. I've also developed a lot of side programs like Nosy Neighbor was a farming tool, digital farming automation tool, and some of the other things to help generate revenue in the space. So I've been involved in products as well and helping bring to market different products and ideas as well.
Nice. So then, all that experience, you've been able to help build teams, help teams do expansion, help brokerage do expansion, correct?
Absolutely. So most of the platform clients at the time, back in the day, were mostly team lead gen, routing, leads to, e-com, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, early on, where team building was more about putting teams in multiple markets. I called it podding at the beginning. People weren't doing that back in the day, in 2009, but that kind of became a little bit of a rage. So it's team building with Keller Williams and other types of teams and other type of companies where you set up your teams in multiple markets, driving revenue through, e-leads and those types of things. Now that's moved away because pay-per-click and that type of stuff isn't quite like it used to be. But the point being is teams are the future in real estate. And setting up multiple teams, I call it today co-oping more so than team. The team building idea is a little bit more like, I don't want to be a part of a team. I want to be part of a value prop, a co-op. So I want to leverage my team members to drive revenue up as well as horizontally and vertically at the same time through a team. We could talk about that in the future. Yeah. It's a great subject matter. A lot of teams struggle with handing leads down. The agents don't follow up. But in reality, if we get the agents bringing 10 to 20 leads per agent into our co-op, so they bring people in and I also give them people, you get a much more horizontal impact on a market than you're not leveraging, your teams to the full potential.
Yeah, I
like
this.
Co-op.
It's interesting you say that. And honest to goodness, this podcast is more for me than anybody else out there. Sorry. I get so much out of these types of conversations because it allows me to put a different different set of eyes and really help expand my lid a ton. So this is great that I'm hearing all this. And again, we talked a little bit about this previously. So
Right.
I'm super grateful for that. And we're going to get into a bunch of that, but like, let's talk about like, what's your passion? Like what drives you?
So for me personally, and it's an annoying to the wife in a way, is I want to I'm not looking for somebody to solve my problem. I'm looking for somebody to listen. And so what drives me is you can like this kind of conversation. This is what the stuff that drives me. Like, give me a problem, give me anything. I don't, hey, I can't, the nosy neighbor came from my broker's neighbor listing the house, not with his broker and brokerage, and me going, God, why didn't we get the listing? Like, can we create an automatic farm tool that every time a listing hits the market, can we farm all the neighbors automatically, circle prospect instantly without the agent having to do any work? Send a postcard out, connect it to a landing page, connect it, and it just automatically works. Well, those are the things that drive me. If you came to me and said, Brian, I have a team and I want a script and we're going after this, I want to come up with an idea instantly off the top of my head. That's what I'm passionate about. Helping agents, brokers, teams find new and innovative ways to create revenue or engagement or attraction of all sorts, whether it be attracting agents or attracting prospects, home buyers, home listers, investors. I don't care. REO specialists. I've been around all those builders, been involved with all that over the years.
Well, nice. Well, so then let's touch on agent attraction and kind of how it's a mindset shift.
It is. So when I've been affiliated with a few, and I'll talk about a company I think is really a good way to think about agent attraction in a second. But agent attraction is often thinking of, I want to recruit an agent to this downline or multi-level marketing brokerage that there's out there in the world that you can be affiliated with, and
or just a team or
referral, or you have a listing that you want to market. And it's a high-end property and you want to attract agents that deal with multimillionaires, which is a huge part of luxury market that often we don't know about, that the deals are done behind the scenes, not in the public, or whatever. So agent attraction is about building a network of people that are like-minded with you to help drive revenue for yourself, because we're all independent contractors, but we also can collaborate. So there's lots of things about agent attraction that we can learn, and we're just not doing a good job of that because we don't have a platform that allows agents to utilize without borders. Agents see what's in their world. I'm in Keller Williams. They tend to interact with Keller Williams. Yeah. So one of these companies that I've been, talking to for many years now is Ideal Estate. Yes. And it's Ideal Estate. And Ideal Estate is like a LinkedIn networking, not a product, because agents think about product. It's a portal. It's not Facebook or social media that can be offensive to some people, or interactions are that. This is a portal where agents can belong, and there's over 1 million agents. So some agents are belonging to it, but they don't know they're part of it and they don't know how to leverage it. But it's the ultimate way to interact with agents in a way that you're not getting bombarded with advertisements. You're creating a profile, you're creating your listing profile, you're creating things, and there's 1 million agents that you can engage with and search out. It's a database of agents that are interactive.
Yeah, and there's ways that you can share referrals, opportunities, and a lot of other information from my understanding.
Oh yeah, they have some of the agents in the network have 40,000 people in their referral channel, 40,000 agents. It's easy to make. It's just like LinkedIn, but you're making connections without borders. So you can connect with Keller Williams agents. Now, by connecting through different channels like that, there's ways to then data mine behaviorally how agents are interacting to give you a profile or match you up with other agents that are similar to you. And by creating that organic growth, then if you are in the agent attraction to bring somebody over to a team or a brokerage, you can do that without necessarily cold calling like an Expire, which is what we're struggling with agent attraction today. That was great, a few years ago. Now it's like agents are getting 6 or 7 agents, calling them on a regular basis going, hey, I got this, I got that. Yeah. And it can be a little bit hard on the space to do that. So this is a Ideal Estate. Check it out. You can join it. If you're probably a part of it, and it's something that is really great for agent attraction. It's really a great platform for that type of interaction, especially for referrals. And it's for agents to do this. It's not anything else but that. There's no products being advertised. There's nothing that you're going to be bombarded with ads for, companies and targeted. It's really for agents.
It's and again, I just learned about it. They've been marketing to me for some time, but it was just understanding a little bit more what it's about. But it's free to agents to interact in, correct? And
Yeah,
then yeah,
yeah, and there's levels that they can go up to, more enterprise, where they can create, job opportunities or create recruiting opportunities for teams, and they could put up, a video why you want to join, or there's other ways to target other agents that are like you for referrals and things like that. And there's advertising through Facebook and social media to create connections. So there's different ways to use the platform at a level when it's like LinkedIn. So when you're in LinkedIn, you have a job post or you're trying to find something, there's different levels in LinkedIn that you can interact with LinkedIn to create opportunities and attraction for other people in the business world. Real estate doesn't have that technology available to them. If you think about it, they have data, they give lists of agents but it's not an interaction, it's not a community. And you can join groups and like what should you spend your money on Facebook, but those are like not the same thing. Those are, a lot of times people don't do Facebook, but they all understand LinkedIn. That we don't have a home for real estate. Ideal Estate has been that home for about 5 years now.
nice. That seems to be growing. And a few more offerings that we just learned about recently. So
Yeah,
I was super impressed with what Ideal Estate is about. And quite frankly, it's the way that we reconnected because
yeah, absolutely.
we knew each other from a former life in a cloud-based brokerage that you're with. I'm with another one. So
Exactly. So we go, people interact in agencies a lot. As agents, we interact. A lot of times we don't interact in a way that drives wealth for each other in a way. And so we have to do a better job of that as a mindset in our industry.
Yeah. And with that mindset, it's interesting. Something that we chatted about a little bit earlier was like the scripting for like having a conversation with a
Right.
buyer seller, but just shifting the lid a little bit. Like the lid is this thing that I call it.
Right.
Here, but just making that little paradigm shift and approaching it a little bit differently. And Brian, do you mind talking
Absolutely.
about that?
Yeah. So over the years of working millions and millions of lead gen, like pay per click, millions of dollars, and driving literally millions of interactions.
Yeah.
I looked at the industry and I said, this is really kind of weird. Okay. The way the mindset is about this space, internet buying leads or sphere. And when you think about the mindset, is the way that you approach interaction, like people, we interact in a very negative way to a lot of consumers. And I think everybody would agree with me if you really looked in the mirror as a realtor and say, do I have a positive mindset in the world? Meaning, think about agents. What's the mindset of the consumer? Are they used car salesmen? How does that, and way we interact can set the consumer's mindset differently and value. So if you think about yourself as an agent and you approach somebody and say, hey, Jack, I noticed that you were online, and are you a buyer or seller? And the person says no. And the agent goes, I don't want to work with them. That's their mindset because they're not ready to buy or sell.
Right.
And they stick them into a CRM where you get Chinese water torture, drip, drip, drip. It's like, come on. That's not really interactive. It's not fun. It's not, you're not for sale. Your product is a home.
Yeah.
And so so dwelling is a homeowner, and I own a home. I'm not a buyer, I'm not a seller, I'm a homeowner, or I'm a renter. There's not homeless people going online. They're not digital marketing. I'm not going to Facebook and doing this. And so by changing the way you look at the consumer value and how you approach them has a big factor in converting long-term prospects and using the right scripting. So one of the things that I tell everybody that I deal with, I say, look at everybody as a value prop that you come in contact with. So creating what I call a digital footprint in the world is that you, as an agent, you're always on duty. You could be at a grocery store with your kid, but there's somebody in that grocery store you can meet that's a homeowner that might list someday. You don't know when, but how you interact with your world dictates the value you offer homeowners, not buyers or sellers. That's too far down the line. That's like, think about it. Jack, you've done a lot of internet marketing.
Yeah.
Let's say we got 1,000 leads. How many are a buyer? What's a buyer? Define it. We don't even define a buyer. Somebody who can buy, that's willing and able to buy, that's qualified to buy, that's met with a lender and can actually physically either pay cash put a down payment, and can compete for a property.
And the ability to make a decision.
They can make a decision.
They have to have that with alongside of that as well.
And so if you're an agent listening to this and you're saying, I want to work with a buyer, well, good. I want to work with a unicorn too, but I've never seen one. I mean, where do they exist? Where do I go to get the buyer? I'm going to do internet marketing and I get 100 leads. How many are buyers? But your approach is, hey, I'm calling my buyer lead. That's not a buyer lead. That's a consumer. That's a prospect. They're a buyer, and it's your job to turn them into a buyer, not your job to not work with them because I'm not a buyer. Like, why would you Nordstrom's would never turn somebody walking in going, I don't want to buy something today. I just want to browse. You wouldn't go, hey, you can't come in. You can't hang out. You can't look. My job is to actually want them to come in and enjoy their experience. So homeowner versus renter. So think about this. If you're a broker or an agent or a team in your case, and you generate 1,000 leads, and you know that in your market, the average price point's $1 million, and about 66% of those leads aren't renters, they're homeowners somewhere. And they're searching for a home, which means if they're a homeowner, probably they're searching for a new home, they're actually a seller opportunity, not a buyer opportunity. So we think about just the mindset of when you're doing pay-per-click, you're not targeting buyers. Depending on your market, you're actually targeting sellers. And the way you communicate on the first communication dictates which direction you're going to go, and everybody messes it up. Hi, how's it going? You came to Zillow. Great. Hey, I noticed you looked at that property. Would you like to look at it? No, I'm my wife. I'm looking in Reno and I'm on Zillow and I'm thinking about selling my house in Carlsbad. And I'm not really ready right now. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. What value did you offer on that call? Because you assumed they were a buyer because you were going after buyer pay-per-click or paid ads. No, they're a homeowner or renter. So no matter what you do in the business, your approach should be no matter where the person comes from. So if you're doing a sphere marketing, your Facebook, how many people in your Facebook friend group is a homeowner or renter? All of them are one or the other.
Right.
Your job as an agent is to get them to think of you when they become, their mindset is, I'm thinking about buying now, or I want to become a buyer. Well, I want to work with Jack or one of his teams.
Yeah.
If you market to them as a buyer, you're going to alienate them. What we do, push them away. They don't want to. That's the wrong approach, the wrong mindset. So I want to reel you in. So if I called you right now and I said, hey, Jack, I noticed you were on Zillow and you looked at a property. I'm putting together some research for you really quick, but hey, I got a quick question. You're a homeowner, right? You're going to automatically answer me yes or no.
Yes or no.
And it doesn't matter which way, because it's a mental thing that they have to answer because you replied, you introduced yourself. Nice to meet you. I'm here. I'm doing something for you. Hey, real quick, and I'll let you go. You're a homeowner. And they'll automatically answer every time. Yes or no. It doesn't matter the answer because I have a win no matter what. If they say no, then you know they're what? A renter.
They're probably not homeless.
And they're not homeless, right?
Yeah.
So I could go from that point on every interaction as an agent. And I've done this in person with people. I've done this at a party. I've done this with a realtor standing next to me and say, point anybody out in the room and I'll make sure that you become your client right now at a party. And he picked somebody out and the person bought a house 2 months later after our conversation. They didn't come to the party to be a homeowner. They were a renter, but we convinced them that they need to buy now in a conversation at a party where they would get offended. So the reality is,
are you able to share what that would sound like?
Yeah, I could do we're at a
role play a little bit.
We'll role play. All right. So I'm at this party, Halloween party, and he points out the person behind me who's pouring himself a drink. I guess we can use this modem for this kind of environment for this. And I walked up to her and I said, hey, how's it going? Are you with the gym people here? I don't know anybody at this party. And she's like, no, I'm just with some friends. Oh, nice to meet you, by the way. I'm Brian. I actually sell real estate software and stuff like that to realtors. And what do you do? And she told me, oh, it's a great job. And I assumed she was single because she wasn't wearing a ring or anything. So I said, oh, great. You have a great job. I was just talking to my real estate buddy here. This is such and such. And we were just talking about renters and homeowners and stuff. Hey, real quick, you're a renter, right? She goes, yeah, I am a renter. Oh, great. I was just telling him that a lot of renters, they've never had a rent power analysis. And she's like, what's that? Well, if you're a rent power analysis, we look at what you rent versus your buy power. And right now, if you're renting, think about the fact that, the housing market's going to go open the next 3 years. About 3 years ago, we did this conversation. And let's say you're got a good job and you can afford right now you can afford this house in this city. 3 years from now, you can't afford that house in that city. You're going to have to go to some other city that's a lot less, maybe more crime or whatever. Maybe you're doing a condo and maybe you can't afford it. You don't want to live there. So now you got to wait 5 years for another downturn and you're still renting when you could have bought now. What's the biggest obstacle you have? It's always credit repair, down payment assistance, or I'm in a lease, or I just don't know I could buy.
Yeah.
I was renting, didn't know I could buy. I thought my credit score wasn't good enough. And somebody said, this is how I got into the script. And they're like, you can. You're a renter? Oh, that's no problem. What do you pay? Oh, great. I can get you in, no problem. And I bought a house, literally. It didn't come. So anyway, so that point is the conversation. I say, hey, Richard, you do the rent power analysis, right? He never heard of one, right? But
Yeah.
all it is it's just a name. It doesn't mean anything. It's just exactly what you would do as an agent. So he goes, yeah. You guys should get together, talk. So 45 minutes, I left the party and they were still talking. And she ended up buying a house from him.
That's beautiful. I love it.
But think about this from a mindset. As if I'm an agent and I know how many people in my database are homeowners, and that was from every contact I ever made, from every prospect funnel, whether it be a referral, a friend, a family member. And as an agent, you worked with somebody as a buyer on someone else's listing. Or you're an agent and they listed with you and then somebody else bought the house. Did that agent go back and introduce them back to the homeowner? Because that agency agreement's done. Did they go back to the listing that they had and say, hey, you just bought this home from my seller. It's nice to meet you. Here's my care package. Here's my restaurant. And that never happens because they're transactional. This is not a transactional business. This is a homeowner and renter business. It's a relationship business with homeowners and renters.
Yeah.
Not buyers and sellers. That's transactional.
Yeah. I wonder those that are listening right now, because this is really helping me expand my lid a ton, because I do get caught up in the buyer seller leads and things like that. And just realizing like we get super curious and go with an empathetic kind of conversation, and we follow the Sandler sales process. So I get that, but maybe another lid shift is just going into every transaction or every opportunity that you meet somebody and they're either a homeowner or they're renting. And it's a conversation for something that could become in the future, but the relationship gets built that way.
That's how the relationship should be built, because that's the definition of what your job in this career, this business is.
Yeah.
By definition, you're a marketer who's marketing to homeowners or renter to help them become what? A homeowner or, someday. That is our profession if we're in this space. And the real estate world is surrounded by the biggest purchase of a person's life that is only that one purchase. Now, sometimes people will buy and sell their house 5 years later, whatever, or they might take 20 years. There's a whole life cycle, right? In every market, there's a finite number of properties that are owner occupied. You can go, and we talked about this yesterday, right? You can go in any market, know what your potential commission is in 10 minutes. I can tell you what potential total commission is in any market in America just by going online and looking up the number of households in Carlsbad. I can tell you exactly there's whatever 5,000 households. I'm making that number up. Okay, well, I know I can go into a title company and find out who lives in those houses.
Yeah.
That's not like rocket science. Finding who wants to list then, the magical thing that doesn't exist. I mean, people say they have predictive analytics and all this stuff. They're not predicting that whatever. There's that the homes list every so often. There's no real way to really predict. I know who they are. They're the easiest leads to find. By the way, people are easy to find. Go online, Facebook, social media. They're easy. It's never been easier to get contact with people and network today in the world. Right?
It is. It's very easy, but the typical licensed real estate professional, like they are expecting to have that opportunity presented to them. Let's just say it's an online lead source, and one of the two big ones out there, Zillow and Realtor.com. And, they went to this platform, let's just say it's Zillow, and Zillow spent all this money to bring them into this big funnel at the top. And that realtor thinks that, oh my gosh, they went to Zillow. Like they're definitely a buyer right now. Well, no, they're either a homeowner or they're a renter with the potential to become that buyer or seller.
The bigger audience,
they don't approach that.
Yes, the bigger audience, the value of Zillow isn't the now deal. The value in the Zillow is the future value. It's not the one deal you get now transactionally out of that. By the way, represents about 4% of their appointment setters that set the appointments for agents that are in there. They're part of their program. Their average conversion rate on that actual appointment's about 4%. Now, if agents are listening to this going, now I get a higher, no, the average internet leads about 1% to 3% if you're lucky. A lot of transactions, they don't happen. 80% of transactions happen from meeting somebody and shaking their hand in person. Okay. Or that's direct marketing. By the way, there's only a certain number of marketing channels for real estate agents to market. There's online paid ads. There's social media marketing. It's not like rocket science. There's like no secret, like I'm going to go down the road, and find the special place for leads I want to buy now. That doesn't exist. It's a relationship. It's a building. The best agents build relationships, but we don't have ways that we leverage technology to do that. And that's what I've been working with agents to do, is change their mindset. If anybody's a potential commission check that comes into your world, everybody that comes into your world is a potential commission check. The only way that you don't get it is you push them away somehow by trying to find out when they're ready to buy, because that's what you want as an agent. That's not what they want. They don't want to tell you I'm ready to buy now. They want you to help them become a homeowner and work for them. But we push them away because we want to know, are you qualified? They don't want to tell you they're qualified. That's what you want. We often promote what we want. Hey, we want to have this. We want an appointment. We want this as an agent. No, you don't. That's not what you want. You want to help that person. You want to service them. You want to create value so they buy and sell with you forever.
Well, it's not even about what they want. It's what we do.
Yeah.
We as an industry have set the standard and taught them how to buy or lie, steal, lie, hide, and go into hiding, so that because they've been car salesmen to death, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's what I define as push-pull marketing, and it's a concept that I've done some trainings on at events and done a lot of calls and talks with. And I'm like, as an agent, you want to pull people in. That's why I say digital footprint. Okay.
That's the big thing I wanted to talk about. The digital.
Yeah. So we can transition into a digital footprint is by creating a footprint. What is a footprint? What can you do to a footprint? If you're tracking somebody, you can track them. You can pull them in. They can follow you. Yeah. I used to make it the Pied Piper. As an agent, you want to play a mind and have the consumers follow you. They want to follow you. They want to be a footprint, leads back to you. And so oftentimes we're throwing rocks or we're throwing something out, trying to catch a fish with no line. That makes no sense. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to have nothing lead back to you, right?
Right.
And so, or you throw a sinker that's 12 pounds on a worm that's 2 inches from the thing, looking, you're going to try to catch a fish. All you're going to do is scare people away. It's like the realtor bomb. We're going to throw a realtor bomb in. Look at me. I have a dog and a Hummer and I'm great. That's the realtor bomb.
Yeah. You have that along with, the unfortunate of the commission breath, and you're so out about yourself, painting other people's pictures, and just getting so focused. Again, you're not coming in with that empathetic, I want to understand what you're trying to accomplish mentality. It's all about us.
Right. And as you think about brand, I'm not trying to be rude to disrespectful to agents that are the big heavy hitters that have a brand, but 90% of agents, 95% of agents are never going to get there. They're never, ever going to get there. That's the up, I know you have a lot of teams, but that's a hard, the average agent has 3 transactions a year. Honestly, they make $36,000 or $40,000. I mean, who's helping them? What brand do they have? Because their mindset is that.
Yeah. You got to spend a lot of money correctly to build that brand, in addition to being super consistent. And it's so rare that an agent, a team, a brokerage is willing to put that investment out there. So it's very, very rare. It's the relationships with the agents, and some are fortunate to build a brand. Like we've been very fortunate. I have some friends that are very fortunate. Plenty.
I know tons that are really good at it.
They build a brand and they want to buy from somebody on that team or that brokerage or that agent. That definitely happens, but it is extremely, it's a hell of an investment.
It is, but they're also at that high level digital footprint. And we'll talk about, like, I go to the Rancho Santa Fe, top agents, multi-million-dollar homes, and they put a flyer out, and it's, work with this person, but there's no text code. There's no value statement. There's no footprint back. You go to their signature line on their email that doesn't have a link to some value prop that they're looking to get. So a digital footprint means that all roads that you put out lead back to your digital persona, because that's the world today. You can meet people in person, but if you send a flyer out on a flyer, like a flyer in a flyer box. I've been doing this talk for 17 years. This is a classic example how to describe what a digital footprint is.
Okay.
How many times have you seen a flyer in a flyer box?
Plenty.
Okay. And if we asked 37,000 million agents and said, what's that flyer for? What are they going to say?
The house.
The house for the buyer comes by and picks it up, right?
Yeah.
No, that's not what the flyer's for. And I've never seen a buyer walk through a neighborhood and buyer in a neighborhood. The flyer is by the neighbor who's walking their dog. It's not, that's who comes to open houses too. They're homeowners. Your flyer are for the homeowners in the neighborhood more than the person who doesn't have an agent that comes by and drives by looking for a house. Man, 20 years ago, before there was an internet world, yeah, but that's not the mindset. So it's all about homeowner versus renter. Okay, it's always the same. So how many flyers that you have for a house, say on the back side, front side about the home, and it has a Texas code? No, very rare to have that. It says call me. Maybe they have their website in the bottom that no one can tell what it is. Yeah. And so they're not creating a digital footprint. That flyers, to create a footprint, see all pictures of this home. Have one picture, not a bunch of pictures. To see all pictures, Texas code. And that says a digital footprint of that listing on your website. Now it creates that text code, creates a phone number that you can track that came from that flyer, that then knows that they're probably a homeowner or renter, and they came into your campaign that says, thanks for clicking on that flyer. Real quick, are you a homeowner? Click here. Are you a renter? Click here.
Yeah.
By the way, you got the phone number, you could call them because you got a text code and you captured their number without asking them to put their email in.
You just got the data to help you determine how you can potentially help them and to build that relationship. And
it's the neighbor that put the text code in. So because you got that phone number, you don't assume they're a buyer looking to buy the house and call them up going, hey, you got my flyer. You looking to buy the house? This is just logical mindset stuff. But on the back side of the flyer, did they have, if you're a nosy neighbor walking your dog, Texas code for an instant home evaluation? No, they didn't put that on a flyer.
Yeah.
So when we're thinking about a digital footprint or adding value, you have to not just throw a bunch of stuff at a wall, hoping you hit a dartboard and find a buyer and magically do that blindfolded.
Man,
it's not going to happen.
This is just so helpful. I really hope that those out there listening are just like really embracing this and just understanding that it's not just about, there's so much more that can help lead them back to you.
So much technology that's easy. So agents are often intimidated. I don't understand technology. What technology you need to understand? Like, it's not difficult at all. What you're saying is, I don't know what to do with the technology.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, there's so many people out there that can help you. I mean, heck, you've been a part of a bunch of them.
Go to YouTube.
There you go. It's simple. It's
that simple.
But here's the thing: we're super lazy. We get a lead from Zillow. We think that because they went to Zillow, they should be a buyer or they should be a seller, and we're not willing to invest in ourselves, our business, and mindset, because this is just a little shift that makes a big difference in your revenue, your future, your family's future.
It's such a shift, but it's so logical that it's so easy to do. It doesn't mean that it's a long-term project, right? It's a long-term project. Short-term leads, like say I'm going to buy a lead, like a lead. I hate calling it a lead. We can have a whole hour on what is a lead, right? But I'm going to engage with a consumer that put in their name and email or phone number, and we're going to call them a lead. All right. And their consumer, I don't know whether they want to buy now, whether they want to buy later. I don't know, but they're a lead, right?
Yeah.
Well, if that's a digital lead, what that means is I went on and I clicked on a Facebook ad that asked me to force registration, a digital lead, or I went on and passively became a lead on Zillow. because they didn't force them. They're raising their hands saying, I'd like to look at a property. We assume that person's going to close right now. They rarely close. And anybody that says they do, I'm telling you right now, they rarely close. Okay. It's still a long term. The point being is that person, that type of lead is the least effective. It's the hardest to close. It's the one that you don't have a relationship with. You don't know a time frame. But agents spend most of their money trying to find leads when the best leads can be done for free without spending any money through creating a digital footprint. I can give an example of that if you like.
I think that's really important for those out there, because here's the thing. A lot don't have the resources. A lot, as this market changes a little bit here and the good become great, or
right.
the 1% becomes, or the top 10% becomes 80 to 90% of all transactions, because that's where it's going right now.
Yeah.
This is very helpful because it's getting resourceful, and this would be wonderful information to share.
So if you think about a digital footprint, the internet's free, really. Not real literally, but the internet's free.
It is.
Marketing, social media, TikTok, all these things to engage with consumers in some way or another. But there's lots of ideas, right? When we think about mindset, right? So the first mindset is you want to meet homeowners and renters, right, in your database, and you can get them from paid ads, right? You can do that if you can afford it. Problem is most agents can't afford to spend $500,000 a year, or on a lark. You take the average internet lead might take a year and a half to purchase, and they spent that lead costs $500 for that lead, or $300. When we think about value costs, I mean, you can buy a lead for $15, but if you get 1,000, only one of them is going to buy, and then it's in a price point. If you start doing the math, you might be that lead might have cost you $500 of time, effort. But if you did a charity event for pickleball, and you had invited people and you joined a bunch of Facebook groups, and I use this because I have an agent that did this and was very successful, got a bunch of listings, is you go and you join pickleball. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America, and they're all over the place, right? In the communities, it's very hyper local. You can organize a pickleball tournament, join a bunch of Facebook groups on Facebook, friend groups, and you can post an ad for a charity event. Now, as a realtor, nobody wants you to go, hey, by the way, but you're not trying to do that. You're trying to connect the homeowners.
Yeah.
And so you do a tournament, it's free, and it's a write-off. And the pickleball, I'm just using this as an example, and create a landing page, advertise it, and they register on your landing page for your tournament. And you got 400 people registered online to learn about your tournament. That's 400 homeowners probably. That's free.
That's pretty simple. I mean, and they're actual like home owners. And then, you probably have some relationships with a few of them. And it's interesting to see what happens. Like when we have these events, they'll say, oh my gosh, Sally, she helped us with our home purchase. Oh,
or yeah, exactly.
They flock together, right?
They flock together and they spread. Like that's how it works, right? And I'm just giving some tips that I find that eye openers that how easy prospecting for real estate when you think homeowner versus renter is. Okay. So for example, an agent can go, and I've done this with agents, and the ones that do it. So remember, there's the doers that do and the don't, right? You can see, I'm going to do something is really not a good way to look at life. I'm doing it this week is a better way to think about life, right? And a lot of agents say, they're going to do something, they never do.
They're going to doers. I'm going to do it.
So here's a good one that I consider one of my best tips, that when I've had an agent do it, they've been very successful. Where are you out of?
We're out of, so our main office is in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Okay. Do you have farmers markets in Pennsylvania?
We have a ton of them. Yeah.
Did you ever do a real estate kiosk at one that's basically no cost at all, and you have a homeowner station that says find your value, do a list power analysis? By the way, that I use that. So rent power analysis, list power analysis. It's just a CMA. It just sounds better.
I love it. So
okay. But have you ever done that?
We've never done that. No.
You get a lender there who has a renter station. Stop renting now. See if you can qualify now. Have your flyers out about houses you have. And your hundreds of people that go through there, see your brand, see your information, see your value prop, will come and talk to you. It doesn't really cost anything. And it's hyper local, hyper community based, full of homeowners walking their dog. And every homeowner wants a list power analysis. They don't want a list, but they want that.
They just want to understand what it looks like. And then
Yeah.
some engage, you build the relationship, and there you go.
Yeah. And it's a value. Was that your job as an agent? That's my job. I mean, if I'm going to open a broker, that's my job. I mean, my job is to connect to people. That's the definition of what your job is. And then you offer your value, which is your brand, is what you do for them through your name.
Yeah.
So I'm just using that. Another one is I can go on the Facebook. So we're talking, there's business Facebook page. And a lot of agents think they need to build that up. No one's going to go to your business page to buy a house. Okay. Your business page is to connect agents through like Ideal Estate, but create a business page. Agents come and interact with you, to maybe refer business to you. Your business page is to have some content about you, right? Whatever it is. But really, you can do a business page, so you can do paid ads, because you have to have a business page to do paid ads on Facebook. Okay. If you don't have a business page, you can't do paid ads. And They don't want people on Facebook doing paid ads or Instagram doing paid ads or doing advertising in that non, they don't want you doing that. But agents don't realize that you can actually get the most traction on your personal Facebook page or social media connection without being an advertiser. So for example, a personal trainer comes to me and happens to be using one of my technology platforms, was KV Core and brokerage, and he's a realtor, and I'm doing a training just like we're doing today.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm a personal trainer. And I go, and he goes, what else do you do? And he goes, I'm a bartender. I go, so basically you have the two best jobs in to create wealth in real estate. And he's like, I'm like, why are you not successful? And he's like, what do you mean? I go, on your bar, do you have a text code thing, driving homes that every people sit in your bar as a bartender? Well, is your bar against that? No, my bartender would let me do that. Okay, good. So you basically aren't marketing your bar to hundreds and hundreds of bar people that are homeowners. What do you mean homeowners? Well, everybody that comes to your bar is either a renter or a homeowner. Why are you not? Don't you have a thing that says stop renting now? Text this code to find out how to buy a house. Just like a little thing at the bar. No. And he goes, oh, you're a personal trainer. Why aren't you doing beach body training for free at the beach every Saturday and Sunday? And you're inviting all your people there, and you're handing out t-shirts with your real estate brand on it. Like,
this is easy stuff, but here's the thing. It's like, it's easy, but rarely done.
But why? What's the barrier? What's the barrier for somebody that I'm in Vegas at a conference and I'll leave the brand out and I'm speaking and they come up to me and go, oh my God, you have such good ideas. How can you want to generate 100 leads in a week? And they're like, yeah. Okay, will you do it? And they're like, what I tell you to do? In fact, will you do it today? And back by the end of the conference, you're going to have probably 100 prospects before you leave. Yes. I mean, you're going to go upstairs to your room and you're going to do what I'm going to show you. 5 minutes. Yes. So the person did. And I said, okay, where do you work? That's like you. She says, Vegas. Okay. And this is a time when Vegas was getting the pro football team. The Raiders just announced. Yep. I said, great. I want you to join all the Raiders fan groups. All the groups on Facebook. If you had Facebook right now, I could pull it up and say Raiders fans. And there's thousands and thousands of those psycho fans, right? If you're Raiders fans out there, sorry if I'm offending you, but they're all over. They basically are a traveling circus of football teams, right? Back and forth, right? And I said, join their fan groups and then do a landing page and post it on the fan group. Oh my God, I can't wait for the Raiders to come to town. And by the way, if you're looking to move with the Raiders to Vegas and have like the, your condo pad and find homes, click here to find all the homes, start shopping for homes to be in Vegas now. 130 leads later in 3 days of people doing that.
Yeah.
And an executive that says, I'm going to be in town a week and I'd love to look at houses. Mm. And that was one day of 1 5-minute thing that, I mean, it took a little while to join the groups, but that was one little thing.
Yeah.
Why is that? What's the barrier? And I'm passionate about this. It's because we look at people looking for a buyer or seller. They don't exist.
Yeah.
If we just said, I want to find homeowners and renters, then every form of marketing is a value, and it doesn't matter what you do.
I love this.
And it's the mistake that we all make when we think about the space, that the mindset is flawed, this space, because it developed where you drove around looking for properties. When I bought my house, I got MLS sheets faxed to me. I'm 53 years old. My first property I bought was in Michigan. I got like 37 listings that I drove around and looked at for myself, found something I wanted to look at, and then the agent showed me the home. But there had to be a function of that interaction because there was no MLS online. Now, of course, the industry put the MLS online. That was mistake number one. Okay. Thinking they already started with trying to do that. They should have kept that private. But we can't go back in time. We let it out. We let the cat out of the bag.
There's a few towns across the U.S. that don't have it,
Yeah,
which is very interesting.
Exactly. Like Manhattan kind of does now, but
Yeah.
you know, and there's only, by the way, there's only like 10 MLSs in the entire world. Okay. This is not the norm. We're not the norm. Canada and US is not, the norm is opposite of that. But anyways, the point being is, so once we did it, then all these guys like me come in and go get leads, go online, do pay-per-click on 17, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, get a website. You're going to show up on page one in Google. And that set us on a path of ineffectiveness in down this path of trying to leverage technology.
Yeah.
And not with a marketplace that isn't really built through that. It's built by people. And we've never, so that's what my experience has been, is looking at this and going, well, you wrote this email and you said, would you like me to do this? Well, no, I don't want you to do anything. So when we talk about scripting and mindset, I can go into what we call obligation scripting real quick as value, and it ties it all together.
Okay.
We'll do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I used to have arguments with agents that we needed a phone number. We need to call. If I can get them on the phone, we can do this. I go, I can convert more people via email than you can ever convert by phone. And they're like, no, you can't. I'm like, yeah, we created a system that I have agents to this day that still dump leads into Zerpal and never touch it. And they get closings off of it without ever touching it and not logging in. And there's no way for, even to this day, because what we're trying to do is obligate what? Some homeowner and some renter to use me when they make a decision. How do you do that? So if you were to sneeze right now and I said, God bless you, what would you say? I would have to say, God bless you. And what would you say back? That's an obligation.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, you're rude. Right? So Jack, if I emailed you this, I have a list of properties. I know you were searching. My name is Jack. I'm a realtor and I know the market really well. Would you like me to send you those properties? Am I obligating you to do anything? I'm promoting something. I'm pushing information out. But there's no obligation, right? You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You can ignore it, right? There's no commitment mentally, nothing. Now, if I were to word that differently and I were to say, Jack, I'm going to put a list of properties together. It'll take me a couple days to research. Would you like me to send that to you by Friday? Now I've obligated you to respond. If you don't, you're rude.
Interesting.
Think about it. One email. If they don't respond, that's fine. But guess what? I created an emotional connection and obligation. Mentally, they thought, oh, I don't want him to waste his time. Maybe, yes, that'd be great. Or no, I'm not ready right now. Ding, ding, ding. I don't care. Right? That gives me a path to go down from an email or a text. It don't like, why would I blindly market to 10,000 people in my database an email that doesn't obligate to, whatever. So I'll send in, I've done this. I'll go to a brokerage and I go, all right, I've done that text message out. Same thing, same obligation script. They're like, I'm not getting any appointments. I need some help. I'm not converting any of these leads. And I'm like, I can get you 37, 40 appointments in 5 minutes. In fact, you want to have some fun? So I'll go to a broker or a team and they'll have like 10,000 leads in their database. And I'll text them something to the effect of, I have a new property. I'm going to be showing properties this week. Would you like to take a look at some this week on a Monday? Happy Monday. I'm going to do this week. Would you like to do it? And I'll send that to 5,000 or 1,000 people or 500 of people who are active. And I'll get 80, 90 responses in 5 minutes that say, no, I'm not really interested in looking at properties. I'll get hundreds. So as a joke, I'll say, we'll do it on behalf of all the agents on the team. And then watch how they all of a sudden your phone's going to blow up and they're going to, what did you do? Because they're going to get all these messages from all these people engaging with them. And it works every time. Because it's well thought out about what I'm trying to accomplish, which is I'm trying to get them to respond and engage. So I can find out if they're a homeowner or renter, so I can put them on a path to do business with me. And as long as you follow that one process of get them to engage so you can find out whether they're a homeowner or renter, not whether they are a buyer or seller, because you're going to get that anyways. That makes sense? You're going to get what you want anyways. But if you find out they're a homeowner, but they're not ready right now, you're 85% likely, if you put them on that path, that when they do list, they're going to list with you. So why are we killing our databases by trying to spam them and email them without an intelligent viewpoint? Same thing we started with. Obligation scripting to use me as a realtor, as a homeowner or renter, not as a buyer or seller. Why not cast a net rather than trying to find the one fish that's ready to buy now, that's legally able? You're capturing and you're growing fish. You got to put them in your, grow a farm, grow an apple. Don't buy an apple from the store that's ready to ripe.
Yeah.
Grow an apple tree. I want the tree. I don't want the apple. The apple costs way more money than growing my own food. Think about inflation, right? There's lead inflation too, people.
Yeah. I mean, I think you said it best there. I think I'd like to have you come back and like get a little deeper on some of this stuff. This is beautiful, Brian. I'm super grateful that you joined me today, man.
I'm passionate. I'm sorry if I'm doing a lot of talking, but I'm just a passionate guy.
You're doing great. I think that they're going to kick me out of the studio because they say, you know what, Jack, you've used up your time. I'm picking.
But hey, this Brian, is good talking points for the future.
It is. It's super helpful to bring this information out there and help others. Again, if this was helpful to you, please share, like, subscribe. Brian's information will be here for your, so you can reach out to him or connect with him. He's super intelligent. You just heard the value that you brought here today. Brian, super grateful for you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jack. I really appreciate it. And it was nice meeting your team. I look forward to further conversations. I look forward to helping you grow your teams and helping you expand, especially with agent attraction if you want. But really, agent attraction are homeowners and renters too. Agents make up homeowners and renters too. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter what we do. We're just trying to attract people. And sometimes it's a handshake. How nice to meet you. Smile. Yeah. Great. Here, what do? I help homeowners become, their life, and I help renters become homeowners. Wow, that's a great way to introduce yourself to someone.
I love it. All right. Make your day great.